Somebody popped up bright and early this morning and went and rolled out a dementia-ridden sundowner hour because he is completely melting down that the Republicans and the MAGA brand got annihilated at the ballot box. He is underwater on every issue, even immigration. Everybody hates Kanks. So let's just watch his dementia-ridden, slurring meltdown. Here he is talking about Democrats and D.C. and Puerto Rico. Play the clip.
Nobody else is going to object. They're going to do it the first day. They're going to pack the court. They're going to make D.C. a state, and they're going to make Puerto Rico a state. So now they pick up 2 states. They pick up 4 senators, okay? You think you have problems? They're going to do all of the things. They're going to pick up electoral votes. It's going to be a very, very bad situation. And it's done. It's done. As soon as they attain power. Now, if we do what I'm saying, they'll most likely never attain power because we will have passed every single thing that you can imagine that it's good and all good for the country. And there'll be no reason to. If we don't do that, people will say they're not doing much and they're in power.
Okay, number one, he makes no sense. The dementia and the slurring, and he's just this elderly, he clearly needs to be in a home. But the fear mongering, it's like the one trick pony. It's such a snooze fest. He used to be somewhat entertaining, even though he disgusted me. This routine of his, he needs to learn some new tricks because the fear mongering and the whole MAGA stuff is stale, boring, tired, and the electorate knows it. And even people within the MAGA movement know it. Because if you listen to Marjorie Taylor Greene, if you listen to Ben Shapiro, if you listen to Tucker Carlson, if you listen to other MAGA politicians, they start talking about America, but they don't include Kanks in that vision.
Well, because he's about 500 years old. What worries me about that is he is saying, if you do what I want, they'll never get back in power. And that's terrifying because we know he does not shy away from criminal conduct. He does not shy away from corruption. So after this election, we all need to have our eyes and ears posted because this fucking man is going to do so much illegal shit, rubber stamped by his DOJ and his sycophants because he knows how unpopular he is. And he goes on and on about not wanting people to have a voice. He doesn't want DC to have a voice. He doesn't want Puerto Rico to have a voice because he wants white men, billionaires in control of everything. He's disgusting.
Well, and this is one of the big fears that Republicans have, because the Democrats should have done exactly what he just said when Biden won. They should have made Puerto Rico a state. They should have made D.C. a state. They should have packed the courts. They should have prosecuted them. But instead, they slunk in, did integrity politics, ran an 80-year-old until the bitter end, and then gave Kamala 100 days. And he's right. I hope the Democrats go in and do that. I hope the Democrats get 4 more senators. I hope that we do stack the courts. Hell, I hope we impeach the duplicitous, dirty-handed justices on there right now, like Clarence Thomas and Sam Alito. All right, moving along. Number 2 here. Trump, here he is on why they lost, why MAGA and the Republicans lost. Play the clip.
But I thought we'd have a discussion after the press leaves about what last night represented and what we should do about it, and also about the shutdown and how that relates to last night. I think if you read the pollsters, the shutdown was a big factor, negative for the Republicans, and that was a big factor. And they say that I wasn't on the ballot was the biggest factor. But I don't know about that, but I was honored that they said that. And I just want to thank everybody for being here.
Okay. So it's just, first of all, he said, the shutdown, they're blaming Republicans. How that got to his ears is a miracle in and of itself. But I love how he took a victory lap.
Yes.
Like, I wasn't on the ballot and that's why you all lost. And I'm sure that, Stephen Miller and all the other sycophants are just pumping that up his ass nonstop. But here's kind of what Pumps was talking about earlier, you guys. He wants to rig elections, and that's what we need to keep our stay alert to. And the Supreme Court, who knows which way they will go in this, but here he is on talking about rigging future elections so he doesn't have to stand up there and take the L again.
It gives the president, it takes away the right of the president to pick people to serve on the court and to serve as U.S. attorneys, which is very important. But the biggest thing is the filibuster. We have to get the country going. We will pass legislation at levels you've never seen before, and it'll be impossible to beat us. By the way, if they do, they're going to do it anyway, and they are going to immediately do the filibuster. And when they do the filibuster, they're going to pack the court. They want at least five justices. Now I hear it's up to 5. I actually heard up to 7 and up to 9. Okay. They want
20.
Judges.
Let's do 20.
30.
And they will do it in the first day.
Okay, so what he said is doing away with the filibuster, which is really the only guardrail that we have right now. And he has started beating that drum about doing away with the filibuster. I think that they probably toyed with it, but after these victories, they're going to have the morally corroded MAGA leaders are going to have some decisions to make. Do we do away with the filibuster and just go all out nuclear on this thing and hunker down on elections and rig everything and just go ahead and turn into an oligarchy / dictatorship? Or do we hold the line here, keep the filibuster in place? And so it's going to be an interesting thing to watch them work out. But are they going to listen to Kanks? If they nuke the filibuster, you guys, we are really fucked. I don't think they're going to do that because they want to be able to provide cover for themselves because they know that they have more campaigns in them. I don't know that Kanks makes it to 28, and all this talk about Trump 2028 and all of this stuff is so ridiculous. I mean, you just saw what I saw, but he has every intention, as all autocrats do, to keep and hold on to power for as long as he possibly can.
Well, I mean, he's tearing down the White House and building a memorial to himself called the Trump Ballroom. So he thinks he's going to live there until he dies, which, fingers crossed, it's before the next election cycle.
Okay, now here he goes on voter ID, and he basically has no clue, you guys, on how real Americans live. He has no idea what it's like to not be a trust fund baby. Play the clip.
But can you imagine when they vote almost unanimously against voter ID? All we want is voter ID. You go to a grocery store, you have to give ID. You go to a gas station, you give ID. But for voting, they want no voter ID. It's only for one reason, because they cheat. We would pass that in 15 minutes.
I was at the grocery store yesterday, and I did not have to show my ID. I've never had to show my ID at a gas station to buy gas. Now, if you're buying cigarettes or nicotine products or beer, yeah, you have to show your ID. But it's interesting because I go to the grocery store, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 times a week because I only buy groceries like 2 days at a time. And nobody has asked to see my ID at the grocery store. You pumps?
Never had to give it. I just got gas like 2 days ago. No ID required. Here's the thing. This is a man that thought groceries was a new word. He just heard it because he is so immune. He wanted to bankrupt all the money daddy left him and then pretend like he's a good businessman. And that's why we're here, because this motherfucker, he thinks that, whales and windmills somehow are together. Hannibal Lecter is real, and that you have to give your ID to buy groceries.
Listener, now more than ever, it is so important that you get accurate, fact-based news. And that's why every single morning when Pumps and I prepare for these episodes, we go to our Vantage Plan on our Ground News app. They're basically the Spotify of news, telling you who owns each outlet, where it leans politically, and whether you're reading original reporting or recycled messaging. Here's a prime example. Here's a headline from the right. The headline reads, Trump warns U.S. military may very well go into Nigeria, guns ablazing over killing of Christians. It tells me that this article is right-leaning, and it tells me it has a low factuality. So why bother reading that, correct? All right, here's same subject, left-leaning paper. Nigeria rejects U.S. military threat over alleged Christian persecution. It tells me that this article has a very high factuality. So join us by going to groundnews.com/IHIP to get 40% off the Ground News Vantage plan that we use every single day. They're subscriber funded. And our favorite part is that they are female founded. By subscribing, you're not only getting a tool we all need today, you're also supporting our work. That's ground, GROUND, news.com/IHIP. And Kylie will link that right below in the show notes. All right. And then finally, here he is, because if you leave him in front of a microphone long enough, the dementia cannot stay at bay. And so you get lies, you get gaslighting, but you get a lot of the truth of what the internal conversation and his internal desires are. And here he is. He wants his cabinet to behave like Xi Jinping staff. And if they're not behaving well enough for him right now, I am terrified as to what more they could do to humiliate themselves, neuter themselves, morally butcher themselves on a global stage. But here, apparently, they're not obedient enough. Imagine that. Play the clip.
We're standing like this. They were at attention. And I made a comment to one of them, and I got no response. I said, "Are you going to answer me?" I got no response. And President Xi didn't let him have any. So if there's any question, I said, I want my cabinet to behave like that. That's the way I'm demanding that I want them sitting up like that, Tim, just nice and straight. I never saw posture like that. I've never seen men so scared in their lives. They have the equivalent of a vice president. I said, "Are you going to answer my question?" And he's like, he doesn't move. I said, "What's wrong with this guy?" "I will answer all questions." Why don't you behave like that? JD doesn't behave like that. JD buds into conversations. I want to have that for at least a couple of days, okay, JD? We'll keep you long term, but a couple of days of that would be very, very nice.
It's just a real knee slapper over at the White House. He's a comedian.
I mean, I cannot imagine. It's just, he's so stupid.
He's so stupid.
And the stuff he gets away with saying, if any other politician, if any other American president spent 3 minutes of their day saying anything, even 10% of what Kank said, it would be political suicide and their political careers would be over. And the autopsy from this for me is that 37% that still support him, that these people celebrate dementia, they celebrate sadism, they celebrate cruelty, they celebrate incarcerating innocent people, they celebrate all of these crazy things, but most importantly, they celebrate the villain. And he's just such a dorky, unattractive, unlikable villain at that. All right, that's all we have for this episode. Pronouns are back, baby. I'm Jennifer, she, her, pumps. What are your pronouns?
She, her, badass bitch.
I like it. All right. Buy our book, support our show. Life is a Lazy Susan of shit sandwiches, and we will be back later with more news.